How do you feel great on vacation? Like really good? Easy. You go to Aruba. You'll spend your time relaxing on cool white sand beaches and floating in healing blue water. You'll immerse yourself in natural wonder and find your center on an island where things move at your speed. You won't just feel great, you'll feel relaxed, renewed, and ready for life. That's the Aruba effect. Plan your trip at Aruba.com.
Have you ever noticed how a calm mind can really set the stage for a good night's sleep? That's the idea behind our new podcast, Good Sleep. Greg, our host from Optimal Relationships Daily, is here to help ease you into a peaceful night's rest with some positive affirmations. And these affirmations aren't just comforting, they can help ease anxiety and nurture positive thoughts, setting you up for true good sleep. So, press play on Good Sleep tonight because a good tomorrow starts with a good night's sleep. Just search for Good Sleep in your podcast app and be sure to pick the one from Optimal Living Daily. This is Optimal Health Daily, How to Learn from What Your Taste Buds Are Telling You by David Cameron Smith of LesMills.com, and I'm Dr. Neil, your very own personal narrator. Hey there, welcome to a Thursday edition of Optimal Health Daily. This is one of a few shows where we read to you from blogs for free so that you don't have to read them yourself, except on Fridays. That's where I answer your questions. And with that, let's keep this intro nice and short so we can get right to today's post as we optimize your life. How to Learn from What Your Taste Buds Are Telling You by David Cameron Smith of LesMills.com. Taste is more than a sense. It is a powerful emotional manipulator. Whether it's the rush of superlatives that accompany a sip of expensive wine or the secret pleasures of stolen chocolate, our sense of taste can trigger a wide array of behaviors and feelings. From the most committed gastro-snob to the harried eat-and-run type, food has the ability to drive us all to extremes. And this link between food and emotion is hardly trivial. It's deeply rooted in who we are and how we live our lives, including our attitudes to diet and nutrition. The joy of food begins at birth. Babies quickly learn to separate good, like sweet and salty, from potentially dangerous, like bitter, sour, and spicy. This is because our tongues are littered with receptors that distinguish between tastes, from repellent to desirable. As children, we love sweet food, with all our taste receptors working on hyperdrive. This is an important survival adaptation, as kids have small stomachs relative to their energy and growth needs. They need concentrated energy, and a great form of energy is sweet foods. Because children have heightened tastes, even something with a mildly bitter edge, such as Brussels sprouts, can have them reacting with horror. But as the years pass, we change. We might even begin to crave the burn of chili sauce and the bitterness of coffee. This is a combination of our taste receptors becoming dulled by the complex lessons that come from foods with mildly addictive properties. The buzz of coffee is a powerful stimulant that keeps us coming back, despite its bitter taste. Pain is also, rather strangely, mildly addictive. The painful pleasure of spicy food means many people crave increasingly incendiary curries and chili sauces. The taste buds of the tongue are hardwired through many nerve highways into the brain. The nerves that start in the tongue become entwined and connected with other sensory nerves that originate in the nasal passages and the pressure sensors from the mouth. In response to the smell and taste of food, the temporal lobe of the cerebellum, the large reasoning and sensory part of the brain, becomes activated. Like a Christmas tree lighting up, the neural messages converge, sending jolts of electricity from the temporal lobe to other parts of the brain, including those that regulate speech, are linked to emotions, and importantly, those related to memory. It only takes a mouthful of some foods to trigger complex sensations and emotions. These neural triggers are not always positive. Food can trigger unhappy and painful memories just as easily as producing a warm glow. It's not surprising then that taste is a seriously powerful part of our being. Because of the role of taste and the complexity of the brain's responses, eating healthfully means being neither a slave to your tastes nor ignoring the important connections between your taste buds and what makes you, you. It sounds obvious, but the truth is too many people are drawn to simplistic eating solutions that promise health, beauty, and weight loss if they only eat or drink an exacting and often limited diet. So, before embarking on a dietary path that can sometimes lead to misery, it's important to acknowledge the important role of taste. If you're trying to stick to a healthy eating strategy, here are a few important tips to remember. Understanding and harnessing the power of the deep-rooted connections between taste and our behaviors is never going to be solved by a one-fits-all eating plan. Analyzing your own food vices and the links between these foods and your emotions is a huge leap towards developing a healthy eating strategy. Any plans for healthy eating will soon unravel if they revolve around eating tasteless, unappetizing, and boring foods. It's a recipe for disaster. Research has repeatedly shown that people who have healthier diets focus on how they can add healthy foods that are also enjoyable. Think of the amazing array of fruits, nuts, and crunchy vegetables that are on offer at any supermarket. Plan ways you can eat more salads for main meals and fruit for snacks. There are, however, times to turn your taste buds to max and enjoy. Rather than suppressing your taste and emotions, give thought to turning your tastes towards the gourmet and exotic. Take the time to enjoy the occasional spectacular restaurant creation, the richest chocolate, or the best artisan cheeses. The big question is, how occasional is occasional? Take stock and ensure your indulgences are truly the exception, not the everyday. They'll probably taste better for it too. You just listened to the post titled, How to Learn from What Your Taste Buds Are Telling You by David Cameron Smith of LesMills.com, and I'll be right back with my commentary. Dr. Neil here for my commentary. Every year, people are surveyed and asked to rank the most important things they consider when they buy food. Do you know what most people rank as their number one reason for buying a specific food item? Do they buy that food for health reasons? No, but luckily health and nutrition do usually make it in the top 5. Instead, almost every year, taste is ranked as the number one reason why people choose to buy certain foods. What's the next one? Usually the cost or price of that food. Whenever I would counsel patients about making diet changes, they always wanted to know 2 things. 1, are these so-called healthy foods going to taste good? And 2, how much are these nutritious foods going to cost me? Just as today's author, David, said, if you want to eat nutritious foods but they're tasteless and boring, you're going to stop eating them. We could also predict that if those nutritious foods are expensive, we'll probably stop buying them too. Luckily, we can find ways to make nutritious foods taste great and not break the bank. And thanks to something called the internet, we don't have to look very far for ways to do so. Oh, and you could just listen to this podcast too for those kinds of suggestions. All right, that'll wrap up today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being a subscriber or follower of the show. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for another Friday Q&A and where your optimal life awaits.